Let's see if we're going to be able to go live. Oh, it says we're now live. How exciting. Although I cannot see myself. That's funny. Apparently I'm live though, which is good. Good evening, everybody. Well, it's evening in my part of the world. Not sure where it is in your part of the world. Yeah, 6 o'clock over here. So the sun's just setting. It's really beautiful. I am hoping that you can see me. My screen's not telling me. So maybe if there's anyone live, just let me know. Let me know if you can see me. Tamala Ridge is now live. Oh, here I am. Exciting. So tonight, although I can't really see myself on the screen, which is a bit funny. It's a bit weird. Should we just keep going? Let's keep going. Oh, just let me know. I don't know if you can see me. Let me know if anyone is there. And if you can see me. I don't think my video's on, which is a little bit weird. Anyway, I'll keep talking until someone jumps on and lets me know if they can see me or not. It's telling me they can't. Well, I can't see myself. Anyway, let's just start talking. So last night, or yesterday morning actually, we did the first Facebook Live in a series of 6, and the first Facebook Live was on the addiction to the upper limit and how it's actually more addictive than cocaine. So I explained last night, and you can scroll back on my page and find the Facebook #1. And what we went through last night, and I won't go through it again because we're going to go on to the part B in tonight's Facebook Live, is just a recap of last night, how we actually are physiologically addicted to stress, which means we're actually energetically addicted to fear. And our addictions, such as drinking and comfort eating and social media and all those sorts of things, are actually just the symptoms of, or the expression of, our underlying addiction to stress and fear, which actually plays out like an upper limit, like a self-sabotage, like a procrastination, that lack of forward movement, that upper ceiling that we go round and round and round and round and round, and we keep coming up against the same barrier or the same issue in relationships, in our work, in our personal development, in our spiritual development. It's an addiction. Yeah, it's an addiction to our own self-sabotage. It's an addiction to our own unworthiness. It's an addiction to the fear that ultimately we are all separate and alone and detached from each other, from spirit, from Mother Nature. And therefore this addiction plays out in all sorts of other symptoms. So no, we can't see you, it's just black. Oh, sorry, Brooke. Hello, Brooke. I'm not sure why. It's a little bit crazy. I wonder if I should stop and start again. Maybe I'll try that. It's a bit weird. I don't know why. I'm going to stop and I'm going to start again, Brooke. So please stick with me. I'll be back in about 2 seconds. I'm not sure why that's happening. Okay, let me just close that off. I think I'm still live. I can't even work out how to turn it off. Hi, Em. I'm trying to turn my whole video off and it won't even turn off. Crazy. Cray. I'm still live. I'm going to try and come back on in a minute, guys, and try and put my video on when I can work out how to turn off this live. I think I'm Hilarious. Maybe I should just keep talking while it's blacked out. Let me just try and see what's on here. Meetings. Can't quite work it out, guys. So what I'm going to do though is I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. Even though you can't see me, there's quite a few people here. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Katie. Hey, Tani. Hey, Emma. Lots of people have turned up. I have no idea why my video is not on, guys. So I apologize for that, but I'm just going to keep talking. So today it might just be a little bit of an audio, okay? So, which is unfortunate because I did have a slide. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Let me just keep going. I can always repeat this, repeat it tomorrow. So let's keep going. For those of you who are here and have organised to come and join me live. So we're talking tonight about the Spiral of Ascension. Last night, like I mentioned, we spoke about the addiction to the upper limit and how that occurs. I'm not going to go over that again. You can go back and scroll back a couple of posts and find the Facebook Live #1. And that's going to explain to you the nature behind the addiction to stress and to fear and to adrenaline and cortisol, which actually then manifest in our other addictions such as food and alcohol and social media scrolling, etc., etc. So tonight we're going to talk about the Spiral of Ascension, and really these Facebook Lives are designed specifically for you, but also for your clients. I know many of you are also coaches, healers, light workers, intuitives, and you have a lot of skill and talent and medicine that you use for yourself, but also for your clients. So the title of this one is the Spiral of Ascension, and the 3 most potent tools to support you and your clients to bust through an upper limit. So the Spiral of Ascension, which I would have had a slide to show you, I don't tonight, but if you can imagine a circle with the words mindfulness at the top, and then a little arrow going around to the right, and then the words spiritual companioning, and then a little arrow going around to the right, and then the words fear transformation tools, and then a little arrow going around, sort of clockwise to a space of light and heaven, and then a little arrow continuing along to the next space of fear and the upper limit. So this is a circle, and I'll post a picture of it in the comments below when I finish the live. So the idea of the Spiral of Ascension is that most people end up going in a circular motion, yeah? Like we'll have an issue, we'll come up against something, we'll go away, we'll stuff it under the carpet, we'll drink it down, we won't worry about it, we'll deny it, we'll distract ourselves, and then we'll come back to the same issue inevitably, either the next day, the next year, the next month, usually quite quickly because we haven't done the work. But the Spiral of Ascension says that we can actually ascend, we can actually move through and transform so many of our upper limits, so many of these issues in our lives in order to increase and raise our vibration, become less dense, become less fearful, become more loving. And ultimately, the idea is to live more in a space of heaven than in a space of hell. That's why we do this work, because we want to support ourselves and our clients to become happier, to become more connected, to truly, for those of you who are spiritual light workers, to truly find heaven on earth. And it's my belief and my understanding, it's what I teach, is that heaven and hell aren't places that we go to when we die. Everything is in the present moment. Everything is now. The future doesn't exist, the past doesn't exist. They are but illusions, and they only exist in our thoughts. The only thing ever is the infinite now. So heaven and hell must express themselves and be here now. And you all have free will. The gift of God is the gift of free will, and you get to choose in which state you would like to reside. Would you like to be in a fearful, worrisome, victim space of the energy of fear, or would you like to be in a connected, loving, aligned, communing, beautiful space of heaven, and you have the choice, and the spiral of ascension will support you to get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to this space on a more permanent basis. Hey Summer, hey Sarah, hey gorgeous girls for watching. So for those of you who have just joined us, I'm really sorry, I'm not sure why my video is not working, so it's actually an audio tonight until I can work it out. So the reason that that I wanted to take you through this space is because I want to share with you what I've discovered over my 15 years of experience as a drug and alcohol counsellor. I have tried, I have taught, I have experienced many modalities of therapeutic transformation. And what I have found is that most of the time people come back to the same point unless we bring in these tools. And the first tool in the spiral of ascension is mindfulness. Mindfulness to me is the basis, and it's the medicine for everything. Unless we are mindful and we are noticing those things that we might need to work upon, no change is going to happen. So mindfulness is all about being in the present moment, but it's more than that. It's about becoming the observer. It's about observing and detaching from our fearful thoughts, and detaching from that space of victimhood, and detaching from that space that I have absolutely no control over my actions, my thoughts, and the state that I live in. So mindfulness is the first stage in the spiral of ascension. And in order to move through this space, we need to identify, we need to notice, we need to start to identify what our addictive, self-sabotaging behaviors are and really own them. Because unless we own them, unless we can identify our patterns and dive into our subconscious, no change is ever going to happen. So I'm going to move through this relatively quickly, because over the next couple of days through the Facebook Lives, I'm going to go through each section individually. So tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning actually, will be on mindfulness itself. So once we've identified the self-sabotaging behavior. So let's use the example that you're the coach and you're sitting with a friend or a loved one or a partner or a daughter or a client, and your client is not so much willing to or able to identify what their self-sabotaging behavior is. So, hypothetically, say you've had a really great session with a client and you've had some aha moments and you've struck gold and you've really noticed what needs to occur. And then the next week, your client comes back to you and nothing's happened. They've completely self-sabotaged, they've hit an upper limit and they're not moving forward. So this is the space where we bring in a process known as spiritual companioning. And spiritual companioning is the way that I work, and it's the way that I've discovered how to support our clients to move forward. So it's the complete opposite to direct advice. It's the complete opposite of telling your clients what to do. It's the complete opposite of giving your clients the answers. What it does do is support your clients to come up with their own internal divine wisdom. Because as you know, unless you come up with your solution, you're less likely to act upon it. When someone says to you, you know what, you really should do blah, blah, or I think you should do A, B, and C, and you go, yeah, maybe. But unless you come up with the idea yourself, you're less likely to act upon something. So some examples of spiritual companioning might be simple and beautiful, pure, curious questions without judgment. So the client that's come back to you without having done the actions that you talked about, something like, so I'm wondering, what happened during the week? And they'll rattle off a whole lot of excuses, yeah? So this happened, my dog died, and my boyfriend ate my homework, and the car broke down, and I was so overwhelmed and busy, and I lost my children, whatever it was. They're going to come up with excuses, and those excuses, as we spoke about in the Facebook Live last night, are really just the body telling the little messages to the brain not to go ahead with these amazing intuitive action plans, because guess what? You're going to feel really good if you do. And the cells, like we said last night, are totally addicted to adrenaline and cortisol. So all of these excuses are going to come up. So some of the questions through spiritual companioning might support your client to be more mindful. So you could ask them, so what sort of thoughts were coming up for you, telling you not to do these divine action plans? And we might rattle off a list. And then we might really delve into those excuses and, what's the truth of them? Were they worries about the future? Were they worries about the past? In this moment, what is true for you? What is it that you truly desire? And supporting people to actually detach from the excuses, to observe them, to actually notice that they're just excuses, that they're just messages from the addictive cells telling the mind, the body, not to go ahead with the action plan because they just really want to be fed adrenaline and cortisol. And that's exactly what's going to happen if they don't go ahead with that action planning. So spiritual companioning, we're actually going to go over that on the Facebook Live next week as well. So once we've identified the fearful thoughts, the emotions, the blocks, the procrastinations, we need to use a fear transformation tool. So this is the next part in the Spiral of Ascension. So the fear transformation tool is something that we use that energetically goes into the subconscious and rewires it. It takes the potency away from those beliefs or those excuses, and it helps us to separate ourselves from them. So the fear transformation tools that I use, and there's two of them. One is tapping, or emotional freedom technique. And I know some of you will know about tapping and some of you will know about emotional freedom technique, some of you won't. But tapping is basically an energetic type of psychology, if you like. It's working on the meridians in the body using acupressure points to basically turn off the body's stress response. To rewire and put down all of the little red flags that have come up throughout every traumatic event in our life has expressed a red flag, and it's caused us to have some really strong belief systems around what to avoid and what to be fearful of. So once we can use tapping to bust these excuses, to bust through these fearful ideas and beliefs that are stopping us, that are creating self-sabotage in our life, then you and your client can move into the action phase. But the action phase isn't going to happen when the resistance is still present, when the subconscious is still holding onto a belief that if you go and do this wonderful thing, this yoga, this walk in the forest, this activity, this course, if you're going to go and do that, the body will say, don't do that, because you're going to feel really good. And what we want again is stress, adrenaline, cortisol. We want you to feel unworthy and disappointed and frustrated, because that fuels our cell addicted bodies. So we need to bust that, and we need to bust it through that cycle. So what happens is when you've had a session with a client and you've got to this point, they're going to feel really good. So here we are now sitting in a space of heaven. We're sitting in a space of freedom, of alignment, of mindfulness, of clarity, of consciousness. In our mindful spiritual companioning fear busting stages, here we are moving now freely into action. And usually what the action is going to be, like we mentioned in the Facebook Live last night, is one of the 4 connection strategies: connection to self, connection to others, connection to earth, or connection to spirit. And either one of those 4 connection strategies is going to flood you and your clients full of the hormone of oxytocin, the love drug. And believe me, when you are experiencing and producing oxytocin, you are in heaven. Yeah, oxytocin is the drug, the hormone that we produce when we're breastfeeding. For those of you who have breastfed a child, you'll know that in that moment, there's those fleeting moments of pure bliss, when that connection is there, when that love is there, when that nurturing is there. That's actually heaven. Those spaces of full alignment of, when you've just had great sex and there's just this there's nothing else you're focused on. You're just completely in the moment, completely full of oxytocin and connected with your partner, or deep and intimate conversations, or a profound, awe-inspiring experience walking through the forest and connecting with nature. These are the moments that are actually heavenly bliss. So what happens is, now that we've done a full cycle in the spiral of ascension and we are sitting in a beautiful space, what's likely to happen is we're going to hit another upper limit, because guess what? We're not allowed to feel too good for too long, because we're still addicted to stress, adrenaline and cortisol. So what's likely to happen is they might do some action for a little while. We might go to yoga for 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, and then it's going to die off again, because slowly the body's going to say, hey, where's my adrenaline and cortisol? Because we're highly addicted to it. And then we're going to hit another upper limit. So then we go through this cycle again. We go back to mindfulness. We notice, oh, isn't that interesting that I've just been to yoga 4 weeks in a row and now all of a sudden I don't want to go? Maybe this is telling me something. Maybe this is telling me that I need to bring in my tools at a much faster rate. Bring in the tapping. Tap on all the excuses for not going to yoga. Start tapping on those thoughts, those beliefs that are saying, no, don't go tonight, you're too tired, you've got too much else to do, the kids need you. All of the excuses that are going to come up, we're going to begin to notice them with our mindfulness, because we know that they're just excuses. They're just the body telling us, don't go to yoga so that I can feel stressed. I'm just looking down at her question. Sarah said, that makes so much weird sense. I know, doesn't it? It's completely turns addiction and upper limiting completely on its head. And the reason that I love to teach this so much is because we've been focusing on the wrong thing for such a long time. What we need to focus on is the upper limit, and knowing that we're actually addicted to it. Yeah, and that's why it keeps coming back. So what we do is we go through the spiral of ascension again. We use our mindfulness, we use the tapping, we use the spiritual companioning, the beautiful compassionate questioning, the curiosity, the non-judgment, the love. And then we get to another point where we go, okay, I'm going to go to yoga. So we start going to yoga again. So what happens is, in the spiral, a lot of people who do this work might say, do you know what, I find it so hard to go to yoga. I have times where I'm weeks when I don't go, weeks when I do go, but I'm kind of a bit hit and miss. And you know what? It's okay, because what's happening is you're on the spiral of ascension and you might actually still keep coming back to the same point. People might say, oh my God, I've done so much work on this. Am I still here? Am I really back here? But guess what? If you do this work, you're not back where you started. You're not in a flat circle. You're actually going through a spiral. And yes, you might be back at the same point, but you're higher. You're higher on the spiral. You've worked through so much trauma already. And you know what? You might go back to yoga next week, and here you are back at the next level, back at the higher point. And we want to encourage that. Addiction is not about giving up something for good straight away for the rest of your life. The true recovery to addiction is finding the spaces between. It's creating more yoga more than less yoga. It's creating more space between the glasses of wine. It's creating more spaces between the binges on chocolate. It doesn't mean you can never have chocolate again. It doesn't mean that if you never go to yoga again, you're a bad person. It's creating the spaces between. And relapse is a big part of recovery. So it's a spiral. Sometimes you might end back at the same point. Here I am at the fridge again, binging on chocolate, but I'm going to go and do this work. And maybe my next binge, instead of tomorrow night, it might be next week. And then maybe if I continue to do this work, my binge might be next month. And then maybe if I continue to do this work, my binge might be next year. So it's about the spaces between. And in those spaces between is where you will find love. It's where you will find heaven. It's where you will find the essence of you, because you're giving yourself a break and you're ascending. And the more you ascend, the more you will find heaven, the more you will find love. The more you live in the present moment, in heaven, is where you will find peace, joy, resolution. But the more you allow yourself to be addicted to the upper limits, to the fearful thinking, to the future, to the past, the more we will remain in hell. And so will our clients. Yeah. Angela says, hi Tam, is the screen supposed to be showing just you? I know, my love, I'm so sorry. I have no idea why my video is not on, but it's just going to be an audio tonight. So, okay, so I'm actually going to start to wrap it up then, because I don't want my Facebook Lives to be too long, because I've actually given you a whole lot of information. I will post the picture to the Spiral of Ascension in the comments below, and tomorrow morning I'm going to go live at 8 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time, 9, 10, 11 p.m. 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And tomorrow morning I'm going to talk all about mindfulness. I'm going to go through the Spiral of Ascension one section at a time, and I'm going to talk about how mindfulness is all about conscious and sacred coaching, and how mindfulness is the key to yours and your client's success, supporting them to become the observer, supporting them to detach from the fearful thinking and the excuses, and knowing when to bring the tools in, finding the gaps and the spaces to bring in the EFT and the spiritual companioning. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed the Facebook Live tonight. Sorry you couldn't see me. I'm all dressed up and ready to go, but yeah, not sure why that happened tonight, which is a bit cray-cray. I do also want to let you all know that I am launching currently the next round of my Soul Connection mentoring program. We've got a couple of women on here tonight who have joined us. Angela's joined us. She's coming along for the ride for the next 6 months. The Soul Connection Mentoring Program is a 3-tiered program designed for personal development, professional development, and spiritual development. So personal development, you know, we can't take anyone past where we're at. So as coaches, healers, light workers, intuitives, psychics, it's all about walking the talk. And in the program, I take you all through the Spiral of Ascension for your own personal and spiritual development. Also during the program, it's professional development. I'm going to teach you everything that I know so that you can use this with your clients. You can use the Spiral of Ascension with your clients and really support them to take action, really support them to have way more potent transformations in the modality that you are already using. You can put this program over anything: kinesiology, psychic, massage, you know, health coaching, whatever it is that you do. This Spiral of Ascension will take your clients and yourself even further. You get full EFT qualifications. You also get qualified in mindfulness. You learn how to teach mindfulness to your clients. It's a fully certified course. It's also spiritual development. Like I said before, it's about walking our talk. It's about spiritual integrity. It's about increasing your level and your connection to spirit, your own divine wisdom, so that you can also impart that to your clients and also support your clients to open up to their own divine wisdom. So I would encourage anyone who might be interested in that program, if you would like to increase your income, your impact, your influence in the work that you do, become more magnetic, because basically people are going to want to come and hang out with you when you're doing this type of work. I'm going to leave a link below in the comments to book in for a free half an hour, absolutely no obligation, clarity call, just to chat with me so that I can explain more about what the program entails, and you can ask me any questions that you like. So I'll pop that link in the bottom below. We do start at the end of January, so there's a couple more weeks to connect with me. And I'm going to wrap it up there. Angela says, yeah, baby, I'm in. Woohoo! Thank you, beautiful, says Sarah. You're so welcome. I so apologize for the black screen. Not sure why. Anyway, if anyone would like to join me tomorrow morning, I'm going to be back on giving you way more tools, way more information, and way more inspiration about mindfulness. And believe me, mindfulness is way more than people think. It is much deeper, it is more potent, it is more sacred, it is the magic medicine for everything. So thank you again for joining me, and yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Mwah. See you later.